You seem like the type of gringo that's always running from something.
But I think we both know how that one ends, yeah?
If we run, she's just gonna find us. Already set.
I think this is your last one.
Did you think I would miss my daughter's wedding?
I'm begging you.
The movie kicks off in a sun-scorched desert in Spain. There's this fierce lady named Victoria, who's pretty much the boss of a powerful mafia crew. She's handling some drama with a trio of Aussie hitmen who messed up by wandering into her turf without permission. Victoria doesn't mess around. She starts dealing with them one by one. But just as she's about to finish off the last guy, he unexpectedly fights back and escapes. This guy, who goes by the name Snag, bolts from the scene and ends up finding shelter in a dusty bar nearby. Snag steps inside, orders himself a drink, trying to blend in and lay low. But little does he know, this bar belongs to Victoria. The bartender gets a call, and guess who's on the other end? Yep, Victoria herself. She gives strict orders. If anyone matching Snag's description shows up, fair skin, blue eyes, beachy vibes, they need to be handled, no questions asked. The bartender agrees and keeps an eye out. Not long after, things get heated. A fight breaks out in the bar, and Snag holds his ground, showing off some serious guts. A woman in the bar notices his bravery and seems impressed. Turns out she's not just any woman. She's Valentina, Victoria's daughter. When Snag gets cornered, Valentina steps in, handing him a knife and later firing a shot into the air to stop the chaos. Her presence commands respect because, well, she's the boss's kid. Valentina doesn't stop there. She takes Snag out of the bar and offers him a ride. During the drive, they start talking, and there's definitely some chemistry. Valentina admires his courage, and Snag can't help but be drawn to her strength and beauty. It's pretty clear sparks are flying between the two. Before long, they're officially a couple. Snag even goes so far as to get Valentina's name tattooed on his finger, his way of showing his commitment. One day, Valentina tells Snag she wants him to meet her mom. Yep, Victoria. She wants her mom's blessing for their relationship and even mentions taking things to the next level marriage. Snag, despite knowing the risks and the fact that he's technically an enemy in Victoria's world, agrees because he's fallen hard for Valentina. Her joy at his promise makes it all worth it. When the big day arrives, Snag stands before Victoria with Valentina by his side. He apologizes for causing trouble in her territory and tries to explain that it was just business. Then, he boldly asks for her blessing to marry Valentina. Victoria isn't thrilled about the idea of her daughter being with an assassin, knowing it could put Valentina in danger. But not wanting to break her daughter's heart, she reluctantly agrees. On one condition, Snag has to work for her for life. Snag doesn't hesitate and accepts the deal. From then on, Snag becomes Victoria's go-to guy. His first task? Take down one of her business rivals. Snag, being the resourceful guy he is, handles it solo, overpowering the rival mafia boss and snagging all the cash. After wrapping things up, he rushes back to Valentina, who's waiting for him outside. They celebrate their win, but the celebration doesn't last long. Out of nowhere, their car is ambushed by gunfire from the rival's crew. In the chaos, Snag gets injured and passes out. Valentina, ever the badass, hides him in some bushes and takes on the attackers herself. Despite being outnumbered, she manages to take them all down. A few days later, Victoria decides to teach Valentina the darker side of their world. She gives her a brutal lesson in how to deal with betrayal, showing no mercy as she tortures someone and leaves them stranded in the desert. Meanwhile, Snag keeps proving his loyalty to Victoria. He takes out more of her enemies and brings in the money, even though he's constantly risking his life. One day, after a successful mission, he hands over the cash to Victoria, only for her to turn on him. She pulls a gun and drops a bombshell. She never actually approved of him marrying Valentina. She was just pretending to keep her daughter happy. Victoria gives him an ultimatum: leave quietly without Valentina, or face deadly consequences. Snag, heartbroken but defiant, doesn't back down. The next day, he tells Valentina everything. Instead of running scared, Valentina agrees to leave with him. She suggests they get married first, right there in the desert, before disappearing for good. Snag agrees, and they quickly set up a secret wedding. On the big day, Snag waits with a priest in the middle of nowhere. Valentina shows up, looking stunning, but their moment is interrupted by Victoria. Valentina pleads with her mom, begging for her blessing, but Victoria refuses to budge. In desperation, Valentina runs off, but Victoria has already sent her men to stop the wedding. The hitmen arrive and open fire, injuring Snag and killing the priest. Despite everything, Snag survives, but it's clear this love story is far from over. Valentina ran through the scorching desert, her heart racing as bullets whizzed past her. Victoria's men were relentless, firing until one shot finally hit her. She collapsed lifeless, as Snag watched helplessly, his world crumbling. Tears streamed down his face as he held her for what he thought would be the last time. He kissed her forehead one final time before making a hasty escape, shattered by the loss of the woman he loved. Fast forward 4 years, and Snag has traded his chaotic life as an assassin for a quiet existence by the beach. But even with the serene waves and peaceful sunsets, he can't shake the memory of Valentina. She's still etched into his heart, haunting him every day. One afternoon, he heads to a cozy cafe owned by his friends, Javi and Anna, for a bit of company and relaxation. These two are pretty much the only people he trusts now, and their bond is strong. The next morning, things take an unexpected turn. Snag wakes up to find a guy lurking outside his house, armed and looking ready to break in. Naturally, a fight breaks out. Old habits die hard. But mid-scuffle, they both stop, realizing they actually know each other. The mystery intruder? It's Marco, an old friend and fellow assassin from back in the day. After a good laugh about the mix-up, the two sit on the porch, soaking in the ocean view and catching up. That's when Marco drops a bombshell. Valentina's alive. Snag can't believe his ears. He's been grieving her for years, convinced she died in his arms. But Marco's got proof. A photo of Valentina, looking very much alive, though she's under heavy watch by Victoria and her goons. Marco warns Snag to be careful, because Victoria's still out for blood. Overwhelmed but determined, Snag vows to rescue Valentina, no matter what it takes. Marco offers to help, but they need more people and gear to pull it off. Snag calls up Javi, asking him and Anna to come over ASAP. True to their friendship, they don't hesitate. As soon as they arrive, the group huddles to plan their next move. Marco knows where Victoria is hiding Valentina, but they'll need to arm up first. The gang makes a pit stop at Diego's place, a guy Snag had entrusted with his arsenal back when he hung up his assassin boots. Diego's shocked to see Snag alive, having assumed he was long gone. He warns Snag that Victoria is still gunning for him and has hired some top-tier assassins to take him out. Snag brushes it off, focused solely on rescuing Valentina. Diego takes him to his hidden stash of weapons, and everything's still in top condition, just as Snag left it. As they gear up, trouble finds them. Outside, Anna and Diego's younger brother are held at gunpoint by a couple of robbers. Before Snag can react, another assassin, Perry, shows up, Victoria's hired muscle. Chaos erupts, bullets flying everywhere. Diego urges the group to escape while he deals with Perry. They manage to flee, but Perry's not so easy to shake. Even after Diego shoots her, her bulletproof vest keeps her in the game, and she's back on their trail in no time. The group decides to hide out at Javi's grandfather's secluded house. Snag's hesitant, worried about leading Perry straight to them, but Javi assures him the place is well hidden. Once there, Javi suggests they rest for the night and continue their mission in the morning. Meanwhile, Marco and Anna are tasked with checking on the generator, which hasn't been used in ages. As they tinker with the generator, Marco hears the rumble of approaching vehicles. He peeks outside and sees Perry and her crew closing in. Snag spots them too and realizes their cover's blown. What follows is an intense showdown. Perry's men storm the house, and Snag fights them off with everything he's got. Marco ends up facing Perry in a brutal one-on-one battle. Just when it seems like Marco has the upper hand, he's shot from behind. The shooter? Anna. Turns out, she's been working for Victoria the whole time, feeding her intel on Snag. It's a gut-punch betrayal, but Snag doesn't have time to process it. He takes out the rest of Perry's men, though the cost is high. Javi is fatally wounded in the crossfire. As the dust settles, Anna approaches Snag and hands him a phone. On the other end is Victoria, smug as ever. She mocks Snag, praising his resilience, but reminding him he'll never be with Valentina. Oh, and here's the kicker. Valentina has a daughter, Snag's daughter, but Victoria's determined to keep them apart. She vows the child will never know her father, her hatred for Snag burning strong. Snag is crushed. The weight of everything, losing Valentina, Javi, and now learning he has a daughter he may never meet finally breaks him. Tears stream down his face as he listens to Victoria's parting words. Anna, guilt-ridden, apologizes for her betrayal. She explains that her family owed Victoria, and this was her way of repaying the debt. In a final act of redemption, she fires a shot into the air and walks away, leaving Snag alone in his grief. And just like that, the story ends on a heartbreaking note. The takeaway? Maybe think twice before getting involved with someone whose family treats shootouts as bonding activities. Safer to stick to dating apps. At least swiping left won't get you shot at.